When Mr. Eats came to my parents' house for the first time, everything was going smoothly. Until... 僕と思って Hello everyone! It's Mrs. Eats. When I went to America, I enjoyed so many things, like the food and the cultures and etc. And I especially enjoy the people. But there are some things that Americans did I couldn't understand. So let's talk about things Americans do that confuse Japanese. And if you want to support our channel, please check out our Patreon. Are you ready for full body and tight? Body gesture. In the US, I saw two people talking to each other on the street. And I thought the way they communicate using gesture was very fascinating. Hey John, I have a band, you know. What kind of music do you play? Rock, of course. That's so cool. How's your band? So it was very interesting to see they are using whole body to talk to each other. And I have to wonder, what if I tie their hands and feet? Would they be able to talk? Hey John, I have a band, you know. What kind of music do you play? What? What are you trying to say? I don't understand. What kind of music What do you want to say? I can't understand. Cursing everywhere. In the US, I heard F word everywhere. On a train, in the bathroom, and in the restaurants. And I'm pretty sure that they are not talking about Wendy's first kitchen.
We love honking!
I've worked with foreigners before, but I've never heard them curse. However, staying in America about 2 weeks, I started to understand that, cursing is part of Americans' lifestyle. And of course, not everybody curses. Mr. Eats doesn't really curse. But for Americans, cursing is not to say something bad, but also, expressing their emotions as well. When we study English in Japan, teachers always tell us that do not use cursing. Do not curse people, okay? Because if you use it, you're gonna be in trouble in America. And of course, we do have cursing in Japanese. But those cursing words are mainly used by little kids or Yankee, which is a low-level gangsters. And of course, in anime and manga.
Oh shit!
Shorts in winters! I saw a lot of men wearing shorts in the winter, not only in the US, but also New Zealand and Australia. My very first impression is, aren't they cold? But apparently I was not the only one who was wondering why a lot of men wear shorts in winter, and I did some research on it. So the research shows that the Caucasians have slightly higher temperature than Japanese. And also it's something to do with the amount of muscle Caucasians have and the Japanese have less. So, don't Japanese wear shorts in winter? Not really. We have a very strict rule about clothes. You should only wear clothes that match the season. So, speaking of shorts, when I was studying in New Zealand, I was so surprised to see a bus driver were wearing shorts. I really thought he forgot to wear his pants. It looked like he was walking around in his underwear. So, when my mom saw a bus driver with the shorts, she immediately covered her eyes and told me, in Japan, we have no uniforms that you have to wear shorts. Taxi drivers, bus drivers, train conductors, delivery men, they all wear long pants. That's why when I saw a bus driver in shorts, it really freaked me out. Americans confuse Japanese culture with other Asian cultures. One day when I was on Uber, the Uber driver was very friendly guy. And then he asked me where I was from, so I told him I'm from Japan. And he said, really? Konnichiwa! My buddy loves Japan, he loves Japanese food. And he told me how Japanese food is so tasty, like tempura, sukiyaki, teppanyaki, blah blah blah. And then he was very friendly. I really enjoyed talking to him. As I was getting off the car, he said, hey! Sayonara! I was This is not what Japanese people do when they say sayonara or goodbye. sayonara, sayonara. Oh, oh. In Japan, we don't do this. I've only seen this gesture in kung fu movies and stuff. And I was like, very confused. Not only this hand gesture, when I went to a Japanese restaurant in America, I saw a lot of Chinese lanterns everywhere, and they had a plus-sized Asian man statue. I asked Mr. Eats, who is this guy? And he told me, oh, that's a Buddha. Really? He looked very different from Japanese Buddha. But in Japan, we have a same phenomenon. For example, in Japan, when you go to a French restaurant, you might be served German food, for example. And I think a lot of Japanese think Europe is a one giant country, which is not true, right? So in Europe, there are a lot of countries there, and all the cultures and languages are different. But for Japanese people, Europe is like one giant big country. Americans put their feet on everything. I saw this very, very interesting scene on American drama that the businessman was putting his feet on his desk. And I really thought, okay, this must be his last day at work, so he can make his desk really dirty. He didn't really care. That's how I thought. Sometimes I saw people putting their feet on the chair in front of them. So why I was so shocked to see American guy putting their feet on the desk is because in Japan, people think tables and desks are sacred place. So those places are for studying and do serious business. And not only that, we think feet are very dirty. So it's a big no-no to put something dirty on a sacred place. So when Mr. Eats came to my parents' house for the first time, he was very polite. He knows Japanese culture, he knows Japanese etiquette too. When he arrived, he took off his shoes and he even brought a gift for my parents. And instead of, giving my parents a hug or shake hands, he bowed like Japanese do, like this. I was very impressed. Oh, Mr. Eats great! And everything was going smoothly until I can't tell how shocked I was. My mom was holding a tray, but she dropped it. And my dad said to me, "Boku to omoru." So I was so panicking and then immediately told Mr. Eats, "Take your feet down, now!" So I explained my dad that's their culture. And he kind of understood. なるほどな。それがアメリカの文化か。それでは日本の文化も教えてやらねばな。This video is sponsored by Bokusu. It's summertime in Japan, so that means festival season. Well, there aren't any festivals now, but with Bokusu, you can get Japanese summer festival taste delivered to your door. This month, you can enjoy summer matsuri flavors. First-time customer will receive the Seasons of Japan box. 随分とたくさんおやつを入れたもんだな。やれやれだぜ。You can get amazing Japanese snacks and support our channel at the same time. 一石二鳥やな。Wow, this is my favorite Osaka soul food, takoyaki octopus ball snack. いただきます。Let's see if it really tastes like Japanese takoyaki. Smells like really real takoyaki, and then also the tastes like a real takoyaki, except the texture, it's very crunchy like a corn puff, but tastes like really takoyaki. Wow! If you want to support our channel, please order the Bokusu with our link. Now I can enjoy Summer Matsuri with Bokusu! Yay! Use my code EATS20 to get 20% off your first authentic Japanese snack box from Bokusu. Take advantage of this limited time offer! When we were driving around in America, I was looking out of the windows and then feeling like, wow, this is America. This is something I saw on TV or dramas. I was so excited. Until I heard so many honking everywhere. When I first heard so many honking at the same time, I even thought, is war going to start or something? I actually thought a lot of people are fighting each other on the street. So I had an image of a typical American people are kind and friendly and make jokes every time. When I heard so much honking, I thought maybe when they drive, they turn into a different person. So the reason why I was so shocked to hear a lot of honking everywhere in America is in Japan, honking should be done only for emergency use. We are not supposed to honk pedestrians, for example, or car in front of you. This is actually illegal. You get fined by doing it. But there are some Japanese people who do honk like American style too. So I saw a lot of drivers when they honk in Japan, they try to honk as kindly as possible. But even though how softly you press this honking, but in the end the sound is the same, but they try really lightly. So in Japan, if they hear a lot of honking on the street, people will feel like, oh, there must be a big accident or something. Sitting on tables. The first time I saw this, I was so shocked. When I was in high school, there was a very cute American teacher, Maggie. Maggie was very polite and beautiful. Everybody loved her. And then during the lesson, she was teaching us some English pronunciation, and suddenly Maggie sat on the empty desk. Mr. Yamada, he was upset. So she sat on Mr. Yamada's desk, and all the class got frozen. And the boys around Yamada's desk was and Maggie didn't understand why we were so shocked, and then boys started laughing. And then, the Japanese teacher didn't really explain to her. So after the lesson, all those pervert boys were talking. Hey, Yamada is so lucky. He can feel the Maggie's warmth on his desk. Oh, I wish my desk was there. But all the girls were saying, we couldn't believe what we just saw in the classroom. We thought Maggie's so, polite and know Japanese etiquette a lot, but we were so shocked to see her sitting on the desk. And later, I saw the former president, Mr. Obama, sat on his desk. Then I finally, okay, that's their culture. It's okay for Americans to sit on the desk. So, as I mentioned before, tables and desks are such a sacred place, so we are not supposed to sit on it, and we have to keep it really nice and clean. My mom used to tell me if I sat on a table or desk, I'm gonna get a big pimple on my butt. Bouncing legs. This is something I saw in the US very often. People were sitting in a chair and one leg was bouncing up and down. I was very surprised to see that so often. When Mr. Ethan and I first dating, he was doing this time to time. And I told him not to do it. He looked very confused. But now Mr. Ethan doesn't do it. But he said whenever he sees some people bouncing their leg, he feels it's strange. And he told me a story that there was a guy next to him on a plane was bouncing his leg whole flight. So in Japan, bouncing the legs is called bimbo yusuri. Bimbo means poor people, and yusuri means shaking. Some people say that in Edo period, there were a lot of poor people, and then those poor people were very cold because they didn't have enough clothes or they didn't have enough food. So they were always shaking like this. That's why for Japanese people, bouncing the leg is not a very good manner. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okini!